How to save money on your SaaS subscriptions? Are you paying too much money for all the different SaaS tools you're using? Well, did you know that almost every SaaS tool out there, you can find an open source alternative? And you basically can almost cut those fees down to zero, right? So I can give you a few examples and then you guys can, look into this more. So, if you're using Gmail for your company and you're not really doing cold emails and you're just uh, sending like a couple emails a day for your company, you can switch to Zoho. So I think Gmail is $5 per user. I think Zoho is $1 per user. So that's a pretty good big cost saving, especially if you have a lot of employees. Another big expense for people is Slack. So Slack charges like I think like $10 per user per month. So as you have more and more members, it adds up very fast. So I would switch to one of the open source solutions like Mattermost, where you can host it yourself and it's basically free, right? Another example is if you host your own internal servers on AWS, I would consider switching to SSD Node. I personally use SSD Node since like they give you like a $20 server or $50 server for like $5 or $10 a month, right? So if you're using it for developments as a development server for your clients, I think that's a very good solution. But I think for production, you should just use AWS so that you don't have the hassle of having to worry about if it goes down or not. Another software a lot of companies use is Jira. So there is an open source solution called Kanboard, which I use personally, and it basically does everything Jira does, but it doesn't look as pretty. And that will basically be another reduction in your monthly fee. If you pay money for Photoshop, there are lots of Photoshop free tools online. One of the ones I use is Photopea, PHOTOPEA.com. And that can save you some monthly costs as well, especially if you're not doing any intensive image editing work and you just like removing the background or coloring something, then I think that's a perfect tool for that. If your company does a lot of design work, you might use Sketch, Adobe XD, or Zeppelin. I basically cut all those software out and just moved to Figma. Figma was a way better tool for us in the long run because you can collaborate with people, you can design on the web, and then you don't have to send the design file anywhere. And it does all the exporting and the CSS stuff for you. So I found Figma to be very useful. If you're still using Bitbucket, I would get off Bitbucket as soon as possible because I think they charge you by the user. I would just move to GitHub or use Gitea. So GitHub gives you unlimited private repos. Um, but I personally use Gitea as I don't really want Microsoft reading all my source code on GitHub. If you pay for Dropbox for space, you could consider installing Nextcloud on one of your servers, and basically you have your own internal Dropbox. And if you're using cPanel, there are lots of cPanel alternatives like Lightspeed, Webmin, DirectAdmin. So you can use these solutions as another way to save costs. So all in all, like you can cut a lot of your costs down dramatically, and it's just a matter of just researching the tools. If this stuff is interesting to you, you can look for more resources on onetouchrecruit.com. And if you want to use our services, you can book an appointment there as well.